At the beginning of the story, we're told that some kind of radiation has spread across the entire world, causing the death of almost all people. In this situation, we see a girl named Anne, who is returning to her home after collecting supplies from the city. Anne has completely covered her body so that radiation does not affect her in any way. We learn that Anne lives alone in the mountains, where the radiation has not yet reached, which is why she is still alive. When she returns home, Anne carefully cleans herself because even a tiny trace of radiation on her body could kill her. She has been living alone for a long time and often travels to the city to collect essential supplies. One day, while Anne is going toward the river with her dog, she sees a man dragging his sister toward the river. The man's name is Loomis, and he is wearing a protective suit to shield himself from radiation. After removing the suit, Loomis feels relieved and happy because he has finally found a place where radiation has not spread yet. He then goes to bathe in the waterfall, but Anne arrives and immediately tells him to get out because the water is also contaminated with radiation. As soon as Loomis learns this, he comes out, but by then he has already been infected. He begins vomiting and quickly returns to his sister. He tries to inject himself with a syringe, but his condition becomes so bad that he cannot do it. He asks Anne to give him the injection, and she does so. Because Loomis is very sick, Anne brings him to her house and takes care of him. She prays that nothing happens to Loomis because she has been alone for a long time and does not want to be alone again. After a few days, Loomis's condition improves. One day, while they are talking, Loomis tells Anne that the area is completely surrounded by mountains, which is why the radiation has not reached there yet. Anne responds that God created this place so they could survive. Loomis also tells her that his father and brother had gone to search for other survivors, but they never returned. The next day, while Anne is working in the fields, Loomis tells Anne that using a tractor is useless because the fuel pump requires electricity, which has not been available for years. Loomis then explains that fuel can still be extracted from the pump without electricity, and when Anne tries his method, she succeeds. That night, while having dinner, Loomis tells Anne that he was living with other survivors in government-provided bunkers, but he did not feel comfortable there, so he left. He says he always believed that somewhere in the world there must be a place untouched by radiation, and he has finally found it. The next day, while catching fish, Anne tells Loomis that her generator has broken down, causing problems with food storage because the freezer no longer works. When Loomis learns that Anne has a generator, he tries to repair it but fails. Then he comes up with an idea, generating electricity using water from the waterfall. For this, they would need a large wooden wheel. To build the wheel, Loomis decides to tear down the church, but Anne refuses because the church is the last memory of her family and was built by her father. That night, Loomis drinks too much alcohol and tries to force himself on Anne. Seeing this, Anne runs away. The next morning, Loomis realizes his mistake, and the next morning, Loomis notices that Anne and Caleb are behaving differently and realizes that something happened between them. Later, Loomis and Caleb go to the waterfall to install the wheel. Caleb wears Loomis's protective suit and works in the water, while Loomis holds the safety cable. As Caleb finishes and begins climbing up, he slips and starts to fall. Loomis catches the cable and saves him, but then he thinks that if he lets Caleb fall, Caleb will be gone from Anne's life forever. The scene cuts there. When Loomis returns home, Anne apologizes to Loomis for the previous night. Loomis tells her there is no need to apologize and says Caleb has already left for another city. At this point, the viewers realize that Loomis pushed Caleb off the mountain and killed him. Loomis then starts the generator, electricity fills the house, and Anne feels happy seeing the lights. Finally, as Anne plays the piano, Loomis comes and sits beside her, and the story ends.